Hello and welcome. It's a good day to be on the farm. My name is Chuck and this is Riverview episode 15. And as you can see, it is a snowy day here on the farm in January. So we are finally into year 2 and there's very little that's going to happen today. So we're going to go ahead and drive back up to the main farm and check the sales. And then we're going to be skipping a bunch of days here. I have a feeling, in fact, I think we might skip a couple of years actually, while I get a little bit farther into this series. It's going to be a while of me just making grass, making hay, making silage, feeding the cows, trying to get that business up and running. And I want to see some of the things that we can do on this farm farther into the future when we have closer to 2,000 cows, because I think that's what's going to be interesting about this. So instead of keeping it as a series where I'm going to do seasons and days, I think I'm actually going to fast forward and skip bunches of time where I'll play some offline, not record it, and just get closer to that 2,000 number and see what the farm would look like if we actually had 2,000 cows, how much it would actually take to feed them, and give you some snips like that, because I think that might be a little bit more interesting. So anyway, we're going to check the sales real quick, and then I'm going to cut the video off of here. That's pretty nice, but we have $15,000 and we're not ready to spend it on that. And a Massey Ferguson, tempting. Is there other tractor, a Massey? Yeah, we have a 205 horsepower Massey Ferguson 8S, and this would be a Massey Ferguson 8S at 305. So it would be similar to our large Massey that we have now, except for having 43 hours worked on it. So I don't think that's probably a good deal for us. Anyway, so I'm going to cut this episode off here. I'm going to skip a bunch of days, and I will see you guys in the future when we have made it a little bit farther. I'll cut in if we've got any deals that I think you guys would want to know about, and then we'll go from there. So hang in there, and I'll catch you guys in a minute. All right, welcome back. As you can see, we have fast forwarded to March. There wasn't really anything in the sales in January or February that was worth talking about. So here we are on March 1st. I'm actually just finishing planting this field in oats. We did have a worker working on this for a little while, so I could work on one of the other fields as well. So I'll show you that in a second, but just wanted to kind of catch you guys up. It has taken most of March 1st to get fields 9 and 10 turned over, but we're going to get this last strip done here, and then as you can see, the worker missed these two little spots right here on 9 and 10 where the trees are. So we're going to go ahead and just run a strip across the bottom here and get this the rest of the way planted. So now we'll have oats in this field. We have wheat in one of the fields south of here, and then barley in the other. So I think this is where it is. So we're going to go ahead and lower this down. And in front of me, you can see the little tractor, the Valtra, that's painted like a John Deere with a tedder on it. So we actually mowed and tedded grass field number 10 as well. But you guys have seen me mow and ted quite a bit to make hay, but this is just to make sure we had, some food available for our cows here now in the spring. So the next step, once we get that tractor and tedder off of the field, will be probably on March 2nd. We'll go ahead and bale this. So I did bring the third tractor, the Kloss, over here, down with the windrower on the front and the baler on the back. So we've been kind of working all three tractors on this. I just wanted to give you guys an update on what we're doing here in March and give you an update on the money. Looks like I missed one little tuft of grass there. But the rest of this is a full field of hay that we'll be able to go ahead and bale on March 2nd. I probably won't show you much of that, or maybe just at the end with the count, because you've also seen me bale a bunch. But wanted to kind of give you an update. And then you can look at our money. We have 10,433. So we started the winter with, I think, 17,000, and that's been slowly going down for maintenance costs every day. We haven't bought anything but the maintenance on the farm is just taking its toll on those. So that's about all I've got for you in this section. I'm going to fast forward another couple of days, get these bales made, and then I'll check back in with you guys in a little bit to give you an update on what we're doing a little bit later in the season. All right, thanks for watching. Hang in there, and there'll be another update shortly. Take care. Right, and I'm back again. It is now April 1st. We did get the hay bales collected off of this field, and I left them out here because I was going to come and grass roll this field, which we'll still do, but we can't do that in the rain. And I did get 8 hay bales off of this field, but now I want to fertilize it by grass rolling it and taking it back a stage, which we'll do here on April 2nd because the rain today is supposed to go until 5 p.m. So virtually nothing that we can get done on the farm today to make progress. I did also mow this cow pasture over here, field 11, and we're going to get that baled at some point as well. But again, it's raining today, so we're probably going to fast forward to tomorrow. But I wanted to, number one, get these bales off of the field because now they're getting rained on, and that obviously isn't good for hay because we wanted it dried out to feed the cows. So we're going to come up here and park this accordingly so that we've got it here. So we've got some backup food for our cows, which is important. So we're going to go ahead and drop this here. Let me back up just a little bit farther. We'll drop that there. Then the other thing I wanted to show you guys in the sales today, there's actually a Roland pack trailer, bale trailer, for $11,000, which is a good deal. This one holds up to, I believe, 28 bales, and it's got an autoloader. So I have been manually stacking these bales so far, which I don't mind, but now I've got these bales stacked here and sitting on the low loader, but we're not ready to put them into the cow shed, so I'd have to literally unstack them and then restack them to go in and feed the cows. So I don't think I want to do that. And the grass that we just mowed off of field 11, I was actually going to not ted and make hay, but instead turn it into grass bales that we can then convert into silage. So it kind of makes sense to me to grab that. That's the first deal I've seen so far that I'm tempted by. It's a good deal. It's only $11,000. It gives us an autoloader and somewhere to store those grass or silage bales. Also, we use the bale spike on the telehandler to pick up the hay bales, but we don't want to puncture the silage bales with the bale spike. So I need a different way to load those bales just so that I'm not puncturing holes in them with the bale spike. So that autoloader seems like a good deal. Unfortunately, we're down to $4,989 now because of maintenance fees. So I got to fast forward to April 2nd so I can get the grass roller going and fertilize those fields. I need to get those bales off of that field over there, but I'm going to buy this autoloader. And unfortunately, that means I'm going to take out a little bit of a loan. We made it this far. We're doing a good job. We saved interest over February, March, the second day of January, and maybe the first day of April. But we're going to go ahead and borrow straight up $10,000, which the interest shouldn't be too bad on. But that way we can go ahead in here and we're going to buy this autoloader. We're going to turn on the autoloader portion, and we could put the things on the side if we wanted to, but we don't really need them since we're autoloading, so we're just going to leave it like that. 28 bale autoloader does take square bales for $11,316. We're going to go ahead and buy that. Okay, so I just wanted you guys to see that. I'm basically going to drive down to the store, pick it up with this tractor, and I've got the roller all set up here, but we're going to have to fast forward to April 2nd to get some grass rolling done. So Again, we're going to do another cut to that, and then I will be back in a second, hopefully in the second day of April with less rain, so that we can get some bales picked up and some rolling done on those fields. So again, fast forwarding, but wanted to give you an update, and since there was a change in money in the loan, thought you guys might want to see it. All right, stay tuned. Coming up next, some grass rolling. Thanks. Hello and welcome. It's a good day to be on the farm. This is still episode 15, but we're finally to the part of the year where we can do some things. So we did have to fast forward through April 1st, which I showed you just a few seconds ago because it was raining all day. I did get a few things done around the farm, which we'll talk about here in a minute. But it is now April 2nd, and it is time to get this grass roller working on the field. So we're going to run down there, get this grass roller started on field 10, and then eventually back on the cow pasture, but we have a little bit of work to do over there. And then we've got some equipment to show you guys as well. So this should hopefully round out the rest of episode 15 with a couple of things we got to do today. As you can see, there are bales on the field here in the pasture. I did get the rest of that we had mowed in March picked up here in April. And then we're going to grass roll that one as well, but we need to get those bales off of there. So we're going to start over here, not on our nicely planted oat field, but over here on the grass. And so a grass roller, what it does, and I have never used one in precision farming, so we'll see if it does something a little bit different, but I don't think it will. It takes the grass down a stage, so it'll flatten it out, but it will also fertilize it. So let's see if I can get this lined up. And we're going to do basically a strip at the top and a strip at the bottom to help with the turning around. And then we'll run up and down the field with this one. So we'll lower that. There is no turning it on. It just kind of works when you get it lowered. See, all right, so there's, and here it says needs rolling. If we run back here, you can clearly see the grass is mashed down, and shouldn't say need rolling. We're probably still triggering that part of the field that says need rolling from here, but when we get a little bit farther, you will see that it doesn't, and that should also add some fertilizer here. So I don't know how the fertilizer is going to work in precision farming due to us there we go, couldn't find the tab, due to us already having nitrogen that we spread on the field, but we'll see if this makes any bigger difference if it gets greener where we went. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that as we go as well. So I mean, it already says nitrogen perfect. Maybe there's not a lot that this is going to do for us here because we already spent all that fertilizer on it, but we're going to give it a shot. And there's no stopping, starting, whatever. You just got the roller and it's either working or it's lifted up and not working. But it also does the grass around the edge of the field, which is fine. We're not trying to do much of anything with that, but it will, if we didn't have precision farming on, it would fertilize that area. So that's just something to be aware of. And we'll also apparently see little pockets where we didn't do a very good job of getting all the hay. So there's some hay that we missed that should show up when we're doing this kind of thing on the field. So maybe we'll run around with the baler at the end and pick up some bits that we find that we've left. So anyway, I'm going to do a strip similarly at the bottom here, and it will take it from as many stages of grass as you have. So like if we missed a spot mowing, it'll flatten that all the way back to the beginning as well, which I think there was one spot in the middle of this field that we had missed mowing wise. And then again, point out all that hay that we're going to miss, or that we did miss picking up, which we actually might use because I think the baler is 80% full, and I went around the field, but I couldn't find anything else in the cow pasture for that. But maybe if I bring it down here, I don't know that we'll have 20% of a bale's worth, but we'll clean it up because I like a nice clean grass field myself. Makes sense to me. So anyway, this is just basically what grass rolling is, but now that we're obviously trying to generate the most grass that we can for our fields, because we need to feed our livestock, this will hopefully help with the yield, or at least the fertilizing would before precision farming. So I only assume that it will also help it now. I just don't know how much. So we're going to get this backed up here, zoom in a little bit, lower that down. Let's take a look at our map. I don't see much change in the nitrogen level. pH level shouldn't have anything to do with it, so doesn't know that it's fertilizing much, but we'll see what happens. So anyway, we've got a grass roller. Let's see what happens. We'll just use it. I'm going to go ahead and stick a worker on this to get this caught up for us now, and we'll do quite a bit more on the other field too when we get out there. So in the meantime, here is that Autoloader that we picked up. And we've got bales of grass out here on the field. Technically, let me just run in here and show you, we did have one bale of hay that we got, so it's sitting here on the telehandler like so. That bale of hay was because we had over 50% of hay left from the last time we baled sitting inside the baler, and then when we filled it with grass, it didn't overtake that 50%, so we just continued on. So let's go ahead and, yep, auto load jumped that right up there. So I think there's 12. It might be 11 because of the hay bale. I can't remember if I was counting the hay bale or not when I was counting the bales before. But pardon me, just hovering right through the cows. I suppose I should zoom out a little bit so you can see how this is stacking them. So it's going to stack them, I assume, 4 deep, double wide like so. And then we're going to start making silage here in a second, so that we can start some TMR when these cows are close to a year old. We'll see how close we get to that. Oops. So that is 11. That's what I kind of thought we might end up with, because I think it was 12 with that hay bale. But we are 80% of the way to a grass bale, so when we roll, it's possible we'll get one more bale out of that baler if we can make that work. So we're going to bring this up here. And the other thing I did yesterday in the rain was I spent more money and took out a bigger loan. So knowing that we want to make silage, we needed some sort of wrapper. I looked at a couple different options. I didn't really like the standalone wrapper that you run around and wrap them on the field, that we would stack them on the autoloader. I kind of think I'd rather do the tube of bales. So that leaves us with this Anderson hybrid. This was about $15,000 cheaper than the other option. So that's what I decided to go with. But it was still $35,000. So I took out $40,000 in a loan to get us there. These are 8 hay bales from before, which eventually we'll just drop in. But I think I'm going to want to, are we lined up? Sorry for all the camera moving. I'm just trying to get an idea of where we're at. Now we need to get a little bit farther down. So I want to get straightened out here. So the back of this is inside that pole. And if this works like the autoloader that I used in Erlengrot, we should be able to move this over here and just drop this right there. And then reset this. And then we're going to just take this over here somewhere. And for now, we'll just drop it off right here because this is one of those ones that's really hard to back up because it's got a pivot on the front. So we're going to get that out of the way. So we've picked up our bales. So then we're going to get this going. But we're not disconnected. I meant to get inside the tractor and kind of back this up here in the corner. And we could probably get 2 rows out here if we need to. So as we continue to mow, we can get a second row that we can maybe park behind this. We're going to be really close to that trailer, but that's fine. I want to leave a little bit of width. Yeah, we're going to have to move this low loader forward, but this seems to be the best barn for storing bales and for mixing food, because we're just going to drop it right in the cow shed right there. Eventually, if we get a lot of bales, we can store some up top in that extra shed we have up there, but don't think we're there yet. I'll get this straight. And that should, let's just park this over here for now. All right, and these, if you've never used them, you actually can get inside it and drive it around a little bit to straighten it out, so you don't have to get it super straight in the beginning. Except this is backwards, so we're going to unfold this, but we load them in where those white posts are, so I'm facing the wrong way. So let's get this whole thing turned around. But I want to leave enough space that I could do a second row of silage kind of back here in this corner behind this row if we needed to. And then we'd still be able to access the older silage bales first. It probably won't matter, but it might, depending on when we start. So this way I can do one row of bales here, hopefully, then the second row right here, if I can fit this back here. Because of this wall, I was a little worried about it being too close. So we're going to try that, and we're going to load them in. So first of all, let's actually click down and see how our grass roller is doing. Seems to be doing well, making good progress. Missed just a little bit there, which we can come around and get here in a second. But look at that. It looks like a nice, clean tennis court grass. So I do like grass rolling when I get the opportunity. I am a little disappointed it's not doing much for our nitrogen levels, because that means this is kind of pointless and we're wasting a month maybe just by grass rolling. But I'm going to believe that it still fertilizes a little bit. If it wasn't precision farming, it would definitely add a 50% fertilization to the field, which would help the grass yield more on the next batch. So that is why we're doing it. We're going to do it at least this time and see what we think. And then if we decide it's not worth it, we can just stop. But this field was already fertilized by us. Now, fields 11 and 12, or the 2 cow pastures, were not fertilized by us, so it might have a better effect up there. So anyway, we're going to start this engine. Do have this one hay bale. We're just going to go ahead and drop it down. Let that go in for the cows. They had plenty of food yet for another couple of months, but you don't need to store one hay bale for no real reason, especially when we have 8 hay bales sitting over here on the low loader. So we're just going to go ahead and probably come at this from the outside. So, and I apologize, tight quarters, probably a lot of camera movement as I'm working my way around, but I still think this is kind of the best spot in the yard to do it for now. A lot of times I'll end up doing this on a, oh, don't knock that off. Ugh. Whoops. I end up doing this in a field, usually. I'm just leaving it along the edge of one of the fields one of the grass fields that I'm mowing. But since we have this shed area, and this is probably where we'll be mixing anyway. Yep, so it goes in and it starts wrapping it like that, and then when they start dumping them out the back, hopefully, let's get a little closer to the wall. We'll see when it starts spitting them out how we feel about moving it out. But anyway, that will work for now. Where is my telehandler? I lost my telehandler for a second there. So let's get this one that we dropped on the ground so that we've just got those single stacks. Now, if it was double stacked, more than just those 3. Sometimes I try to take 2 over at once, but usually one of them just falls off and gets in the way anyway. So this is probably better to do it one at a time, and we're not driving very far, so that's the other good thing about it. And then that gets kind of teleported in there, and it will wrap that and start spitting those out. And let's get over here and get this wrapped up too. And again, silage is one part of the TMR mixture. Hay is another. And then we can use straw as a filler. So if we decide that the hay that the cows have right now is sufficient, we can leave those 8 bales out so we can mix them in with TMR. If we decide that the cows aren't producing milk anyway because they're not mature enough yet, we can throw those 8 bales in to feed them, save this silage for the next batch of hay, do another field of hay shortly so we've got an abundance of hay, go with the silage, and then get a mixing wagon to start doing that. So, you know, we'll see how the series progresses and what we want to do for the cows at that point, but we're getting into the animal care part of them and how that looks. So let's drop this one in. Oops, I pushed it back to the wall a little bit. So let's get out of here, take a look at this. This is now coming out the back, so let's move forward. It's actually doing that for me. We'll straighten that out. And we'll get out of there. So we've got 1, 2, 3, fourth one in there. Speaking of animal care, sorry for the segue, but the chickens are over here. I did stack 2 pallets of eggs over here just to get them out of the way. I've got another pallet of eggs here that's ready, and this one will be ready soon, so probably tomorrow we'll move those eggs out as well. But I wanted to show you guys our chickens are now fully grown because they're over 6 months old. So here's they're actually at 8 months and 100% productivity. Their food is getting a little low, but that's fine. We should be harvesting some wheat here soon. But their reproduction is at 50%. So at 6 months, or 7 months, excuse me, a month ago, no, 6 months, so 2 months ago, they made some 0-month-old chicks. So now we had 180 we paid for. These chicks were all free. So essentially we doubled our chickens here, which is nice. So we've got 180 free chicks we didn't have to buy. And they'll grow up and start making more chicks as well. And they're producing eggs. So for the cost of basically the wheat from our field, which we wouldn't get that much money for anyway, we're generating eggs and generating chickens. And then eventually when these chickens get older, we can start selling them off. We bought them for 5 and we can sell them for 25. So once these are old enough to start producing more chicks and we're getting a reasonable amount of eggs, we can consider selling some of these off for a little bit of quick cash too. We'll do the same thing with the cows, but it's going to take obviously a lot longer. We got 8 months here and 7 months here. They're still not even to puberty where they're going to start producing milk, which is, I believe, at 12 months. And then at 18 months, they can start reproducing cows. So it's a little bit longer of a game with the cattle, but it's kind of the same thing we're doing with the chickens down here. So I wanted to show you guys that. So anyway, we've got free chicks, and we're using those to generate eggs as well. But that's another source of income if we get a little tight on cash later on and we need to generate some. We can obviously sell the egg pallets at whatever price they're at. I know they were best in December, so they're probably terrible now in April. Or we can start selling the chickens themselves off for about a $20 profit each, which will generate a little bit of money if we need it. So dropping that in. Again, it doesn't take that long to do a load like this. And the other nice thing too is I've been using that low loader to haul the bales around, but I was able to get 16 on it once, but that's about the maximum. But I also now need that low loader for the eggs, because you guys saw me drive that 1 pallet of eggs over in December, and that was not how I would recommend doing that. We had a lot of problems with that in that episode anyway. So I'd rather start stacking those pallets of eggs on that low loader, and then since now that we have a loader for the bales, we can use that to transport the bales. We don't need that low loader specifically for bales. We can now use that for other things like the eggs. So kind of working itself out around the farm here, but we're finally figuring out what we need to do to get some of this stuff moving forward. So get these last couple in here, and then we will get that grass roller moved over to the next field. Sorry, I hesitated there because I thought about double stacking it moving over, but I just told you guys that doesn't work very well sometimes, so I think I'm just going to stick with one at a time. But I was trying to make that decision on the fly, and that led to some hesitation on my part. But we got our nice tube of bales there. We'll let those ferment for a couple of months because we shouldn't need any silage or TMR till those cows that are 8 months suddenly become 12 months. And that's when we can start wanting their production to be 100%, not 80%, and we can switch them from hay to TMR. So that's kind of the timeline we're on and why we're doing it that way, which makes sense to me. Let me know in the comments if you guys do it in a different way, or if you found something that works better. I mean, everybody kind of does it their own way, but no sense in making TMR when they're not producing anything, but we do want as much production as we can get out of them once they are producing something. So since we had that hay last us through the winter and still going strong here in the spring, we probably won't put more hay in. We'll probably switch to TMR, but again, then we're going to need a mixing wagon, but we were going to get a mixing wagon anyway, because we need to be able to shred our straw bales from the wheat and the barley fields in order to add straw to the cow barn. So, and I know I've told you guys all of that stuff before, but I just wanted to kind of reiterate some of what the process is here for year 2, now that we're focusing more on, we've got a load of crops up and running. We'll put the wheat in with the chickens, we'll put the straw in with the cows, we'll put the barley in the silo, probably. And I don't even know what we're going to do with the oats, but we'll get there. Alright, so let me bring this low loader over here. Excuse me, park this next to the telehandler next to the low loader. And we will pop out. So here's our nice silage row of 11 bales. Alright, and I apologize, I'm going to have to turn back on the menu. I don't know what the eject button is. Stop engine, fold bale wrapper. Do we just pull out? Maybe we just pull out. That can't be it. Alright, so we're going to park this up back here. And this way, if we decide to do a second row of silage, we can do it behind this one, and then the fresh silage will be on the outside, is the science I'm going for here. Kind of a pain with the low loader, but we'll make it work. And we'll turn that engine off, jump out of there. So again, this is kind of, and these are 0, 6%, 5%, 3%, 2%, 2%, 1%, so on and so forth. So, but there's our 11 bales of silage all ready to go. Got our hay, which we'll also need. We'll need a mixing wagon at some point in time. Let's go get our grass roller. And we've got one more field to do, which is the one we got these off of, field 11. But we missed all these sections here. Should have done 2 rows on the headlands, but we'll know for next time. So back this up and fold these down. And we'll just do a quick strip to get all this stuff so it's all nice and uniform. And this does help the yield again when I've done it on the regular FS22. The precision farming, it doesn't seem to be doing much to the nitrogen value, but I'm just going to stick with it because we've got the grass roller, and kind of we'll decide how we want to proceed in future years with rolling the grass based on what we see. But again, we'd already fertilized this one kind of to the max with solid fertilizer before because we were going to plant crops here, but we decided not to. So we'll see if we get the same effect here on field 11, which has never been fertilized by us. Apologize for the slow miles an hour here. I thought this might be faster than lifting it and setting it down, but it clearly was not. So I'm going to go ahead and get this strip, and then we'll go ahead and wrap that up. So I'm going to do the same thing on field 11. We'll talk about it probably in the next episode at this point. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. Wanted you guys to see the food production for our livestock and kind of how all that came together. So thank you guys so much for watching. Give it a thumbs up if you liked it. Please subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.